Good evening. Good evening. I am Denise Newsome, and you are watching the Denise Newsome Show, the show that highlights the diversity of gifts and talents. Please give us some red hearts, some stars, tag someone, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already so you can keep up with going on the Denise Newsome Show. Our special guest today is a woman of excellence who is preparing for purpose and planning for the promise. Jaquita Zachary-Johnson is a speaker, entrepreneur, confidence coach, and a children's book author. She's a highly qualified teacher in the state of Georgia with specialist degrees in educational leadership and teachers leadership. Jaquita has a master's degree in early childhood education, a bachelor's degree in music and business, and a reading endorsement. Author Jaquita says that teaching is one of the most rewarding things she has ever done. Please welcome Jaquita to the show. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting. Tell us a little more about you. You wear many hats.
I wear a whole lot of hats. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm no longer in the classroom. So I'm no longer
Okay.
teaching technically, but I'm a behavior intervention specialist now. And so I'm grateful to be able to do that. I work with students that may be struggling with following rules or social emotional learning. I focus in on those things. As a classroom teacher, I had to do it anyway. So I'm
Right.
grateful that now I don't have to necessarily worry about those academics per se and those
Right.
test scores and all of that. I get to focus and hone in primarily on behavior. And so I'm grateful for that. Also, along with that, I God has just opened up many doors. I do a lot of things with influencing in the plus size community. I'm currently Miss Georgia Plus Intercontinental for the state of Georgia, and we'll have the nationals coming up in May. I'm also Miss Curvy Atlanta, and so just God has just allowed my opportunities to expand. And so with one of my books, I focus a lot on building self-esteem, and with that, a lot of the modeling and all of that has just taken off. I wanted the world to know that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And
Yes,
so
it does.
in doing that, it just kind of expanded. Last year, I was able to be a part of Torrid, which is a huge company, a $1 billion company, and they do plus size clothing. I was able to take part in one of their model searches, and so made it to
Okay.
top 30. It just opened up a lot of doors. So I'm grateful. So that's what I do. Just day to day, I get the opportunity to work with children, and that's the blessing in it all, to impact lives and primarily impact the future. And just being able to be an author, having my words and my heart go places
Right.
I've never been. So just got an email from a gentleman in Africa talking about how they enjoying the book. And so that's just amazing. So I've never personally been, want to go one of these days, but to have my words and my thoughts, and like I said, my heart to be there already, touching lives is absolutely amazing. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Amen. Amen. You got, like I said, you wear many hats.
Whew,
You
a lot
wear
of hats.
many hats, and you master them. You're doing
I
an
try.
excellent job. So, how do you come up with your titles?
Just life. So I'm gonna just go through just everything. So my first baby. I personally don't have any children, but I do have nieces and
Okay.
nephews. I currently have 10 great nieces and nephews. So I'm grateful. So this is my baby. I am married. Daniel Johnson is my husband, my support, my biggest cheerleader. I'm grateful for him. So 2014, I was a second grade teacher here in
Okay.
Georgia, and I was working on the standard, the math standard that talks about the greater than and less than symbol. And my students just kept being confused like a lot of people. And I knew that they knew that 5 was less than 10, but they just on the test, they wasn't showing mastery because they couldn't remember. And of course, I infuse literature into everything that I do. And so I couldn't find a book. I found songs and poems and all kinds of stuff, but not an actual story. And so
Okay.
I said, you know what, I'm gonna write a story to help my students remember. And so my
Wow.
students remembered Gary the Greater Gator, and I was going through all kind of layoffs in I think that was like 2014. Don't quote me, but we had lots of layoffs, and I'm thinking, man, I became a teacher because I thought this was a secure job. I want to touch life. But
Right.
anyway, I am going to write the story. I don't want anyone trying to determine my destiny and my coins and everything like that. So I said, hey, I'm another stream of income, and so I
Right.
decided to make it into an actual book. And so the title Gary the Greater Gator came about because I wanted students to learn what Gary the Greater Gator does, and he eats the biggest number. Of course, we know that. And
Right.
so just in that, I do music. I have song and dance, all that goes with it. So that helped my students to understand and was able to show that they had mastered that standard of greater than and less than. So that's that
Wow.
one. Then I have another book. I don't know if you want to know about all of them, but I have
You go
another.
ahead. You go ahead.
I have a book, I Am Pretty. And so, as you know, like I said, I am no longer in the classroom. And when I became a behavior specialist, I kept working with a lot of girls, and they were just
Okay.
bullies and just kind of mean like. And as I work with them, I'm listening to them talk and share what they have going on. I'm like, they really don't like themselves. And so they trying to put each other down, try and make themselves feel better. And we know that doesn't work. And
Right.
so just meeting with them, meeting with parents, I'm like, oh, well, she seemed to be struggling in that issue too. And so as a child, I struggled. I'll talk about that later, but I struggled with low self-esteem. And so
Right.
what I wanted to do, I wanted to write a story and share a little bit of my story with young ladies. And even though, it says I am pretty, oftentimes we forget to say brave, awesome, smart, and kind. All that's on there as well. And I wanted young ladies or people, period, to realize that true prettiness comes from within. So with that character development. So honestly, it's a book that definitely honors the skin that you in and love the skin that you're in, but understanding that true prettiness comes from within. So be pretty kind, be pretty brave, be pretty strong, those types of things. And in
Right.
doing this one, my market was like school age 5 to 10. And so in
Okay.
working with adults, because adults started reading the book and tweens and everybody. And my
Okay.
tweens were like, hey, we want something like that. We want a book. But
Right.
that's for kids. I don't want a storybook, but it's amazing that some of our adults read it too. Quick, easy read. So I came up with the activity book for
Okay.
my tweens. So I don't know if you can see it, but it has the affirmations and the coloring, and it has journal prompts and all of that. So you still get the same message, um, but it's just in activity form.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how I'm pretty the
Let,
activity book. I'm sorry.
let me ask you this. I'm sorry. Um, I read that what does pretty stand for?
So in the we have what we call pretty parties. And so technically with the pretty party, they get to choose from the acronym, and that's what we focus on. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'm all about choices. I love choices. Okay. And so when we have our pretty parties, they get to choose from one of the acronyms of pretty. And so we
Okay.
talk about um, poise, the P for poise, and we talk R's for respect, those types of things, etiquette, and
Right.
those are certain things that you can focus on when you have or when you want to have your pretty party. So
Right.
that's
Okay.
what that's about.
Okay.
So
We'll
we
get
don't focus on
further
the
into
acronym
that.
primarily. I'm sorry.
We will get further into that later.
Yes, we'll
Definitely.
talk a little bit about that. Yeah. So in
Yes.
the book, we don't talk about the acronym. I have a good friend, Sonia Adams. She did. She sponsored my first book signing, And in doing that, she also has a book now for the adults, and hers is an acronym
Oh,
um,
wow.
for for adults. But with mine, in the book, we don't focus on the acronym, but we do focus on the acronym when you decide you want to have a party. What type of party you want to have? Do you want to focus on being poised? Do you want to focus on etiquette? Do you want to focus on respect? Do you
Right.
want youth development and entrepreneurship? So I like choices. And so that's where that came from. That's where that
Okay.
came
Okay.
from.
That's
And
great.
I, I have a new book. Yay, I'm so excited. So, of course, in doing my girls' book, everywhere
Congratulations.
I went, thank you so much. The parents and the kids were like, "Well, do you have something for boys?" And I didn't at the time, didn't have anything for boys. I was working on some things, and so my next book that I just this 2020 published 2020. Listen up, guys. Life Little Instruction Book for Boys. Unfortunately, I lost my brother-in-law, and he was just an amazing guy, just an amazing
Wow.
guy. Okay, and young guy, and he has two children. Had two children, and I was already working on the book when
Okay.
when he passed. My doing the whole George Floyd thing. His son was turning 5, and he said, "I don't want y'all to buy any gifts. All I want is you to speak life to my son." So we had that whole video thing going on COVID, and so we had to do a video, and I did a portion of my boy's book that I was working on for him, my nephew, and my
Okay.
brother-in-law was just blown away. And he was like, "Let me know when the book comes out. I can't wait to get it." But unfortunately, he didn't make it. So once
Wow.
he passed, I had to add another little piece in the book for it. And that's just how this one developed, just life lessons, because it was just called Listen Up, Guys. And it was just the, hey, life happens, keep doing you type thing. But I added that extra little instruction because I couldn't fathom my niece and my nephew not going through life with those instructions that I know my brother-in-law would give. So I added in a little extra piece
Wow.
for that, and just giving them little nuggets like to A, ask questions, B, believe in yourself, C, celebrate your achievements. Just those types of nuggets, because he was an amazing guy,
Right.
just those types of nuggets to give to them. And so that kind of switched up the title a little bit, but it's still Listen Up, Guys, Life and Little Instruction Book for Boys. Still focused on that. And of course, I couldn't just have my boys. I had to do my girls as well. So I had to come up with an activity book as well. So this is coloring pages and activities that's
Okay.
aimed at building that self-esteem and life skills and confidence in children. So both boys and girls. And so it's still those same lessons, but I added in a few more young ladies here and there. And so it has activities, journal prompts, and all those types of things just kind of get you to thinking and help boost self esteem. And so this one is life lessons from A to Z. L is for listen. So
Wow.
that's that. I know it's a lot.
Now, no, that's excellent. That's excellent. How do you name your characters? How do you come up with the names?
So I'm also a writing coach, and so only the character that I have is with a name is Gary the Greater Gator. And so with the other books, it's more so just a main character, not necessarily a name. So you will see
Okay.
this young man throughout the book. You will see this young lady throughout the book. That's not me; it's my mom when she was about 11. And so
Oh,
my
wow.
Chastity Hampton did a great job coloring. So I I I write the way I used to plan my lessons. I
Okay.
think I write with the end in mind. And so that's how we learn what's the end result. By the time my readers finish reading this book, what do I want them to know? How do I want them to feel? What is the concept I'm trying to get across? And so that's the type of writer that I am, and writers that I work with, I teach them that method as well. So I ask them, that's how we start with the end in mind. And it's like, okay, so when I did Gary the Greater Gator, I knew I wanted my kids to be able to understand the greater than and less than symbol. When I did I Am Pretty, I knew I wanted girls to get the concept that true prettiness come from within.
Right.
So if I had different ideas or whatever that didn't go along with those concepts, I threw them out because that was not my purpose. That was not my goal. And same with life lessons for little boys. I knew I wanted lessons and I wanted children to be able to have nuggets, to be able to walk away with, because oftentimes our boys are having to make these different decisions, trying to be cool, being smart. Is that cool? So just letting them know, hey, in life you need all of this. And so I have these different nuggets to help them to be able to choose and give them good decision making skills. Sometimes we have to be taught how to choose, and working on, especially my middle schoolers, just saying, okay, so if you do this, what happen? Just helping them to think through stuff. So many times we just do things without thinking. And so
Right.
I remember I was working with a young man who decided he wanted to fight. And oh, not a problem. I'm not going to stop you from fighting, sweetie, but let's talk about it. Let's walk through this. Okay, so, because, hey, daddy said I got to fight. He hit me. I got to fight. Okay, so let's walk through this. Okay, so if you decide to fight, what's going to happen? I probably get suspended. That's all right. This. I said, that's not a problem. You've already thought through it. So let me ask you, what's going to happen if you lose the fight? And boy, oh boy, the
Wow.
look on his face was like, uh-oh. He was like, oh, I ain't thinking
Wow.
about that. You know what I mean? So all these different
Right.
things, man, the kids gonna talk about me, these different things. So what is something else other than fighting? Because we don't know what he bringing. You know what I mean? So we may want to
Right.
make a different decision than fighting. And what else can we do? So we kind of talked about different things that we can do and all this stuff. So he decided he wasn't gonna fight that day, and so just type,
Right.
those types of things. Just want to give those young men just those nuggets to stop and think before you do. So
Do.
that's
Yeah. That was excellent. That was an excellent example. Most times they don't think about losing.
right. Nobody
They
thinks
don't
about,
think
yeah, we just want to act, but we don't stop and think about
right.
what's gonna happen. And we have
What's
to.
gonna happen?
Yeah, you have to
What's
stop and
gonna
think.
happen?
Then make your
Right.
choice. Then
Then
decide.
make
Yeah.
a choice. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Do any of your books you write come from your own childhood?
Yes, a lot of them come from my, other than Garrett the Greater Gator, but even I got some of that infused in that one. But definitely I am pretty, like I said, when I was younger, kindergarten to be exact. I am currently 45 years old. When I tell you, I still have all these emotions. I can still hear my kindergarten teachers talking about me, talking about my mom, all of that. So I'm a different type of teacher, and I was very passionate. I didn't talk about the children. I didn't talk about mamas, and I didn't do all of that because when I was in kindergarten, my teacher was a bully. She really was, in that I talked all the time. I ran my mouth. I did. And so I used to have to do physical stuff, corporal punishment type stuff. And so like bend down and touch my toes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after a while, of course, I always been big. I mean, it is what it is. And
Right.
5 minutes in, heck, I'm five. I should be able to sit down. But 5 minutes in, I'm shaking. Or
Oh
I got
wow.
one leg up and I'm holding the book, that type of thing. And look at you, so fat you can't, and that's the way my teacher was talking to
Wow.
me. I come to school thinking I'm cute in my little skirt, and I hear
Right.
her and the teacher's aide. Now her mama knows she too fat to have that on. Why did her mama, I'm thinking I'm cute. So all my little confidence just crushed. And and
Right.
just noticing how they treat different children differently. I'll never forget one day, it was picture day, and I'm certain my mom had three girls.
Right.
Okay. And my dad was an addict, so we're gonna throw him in as a child too, right? And
Right.
she was just kind of holding it down, worked for the state of Georgia, and so did my dad. Great parents, great parents. But and I'm certain I probably just kind of threw it in the book bag. But anyway, picture that came, and I looked a mess. Mama did our hair on Sunday. By Wednesday, it is what it is. You didn't have to wait till Sunday before I
Right.
get to and so and to this day, my sister's a stylist. So anyway, that could have had something to do with it. But I came to school. It was pitch day. I looked a mess. And according to my teacher, she just went off. She ended up doing my hair and combing my hair, but just the ugliness that she spoke over me as she was doing all this stuff.
Wow.
And so I began to feel bad. I began to believe her. I began to believe that I was ugly, that I was too fat, that I was too dark, that my hair was too nappy. I began to believe all this stuff because this is my teacher. She teach me how to read. So I didn't go home. I did not say, "Hey, mama, this is what's happening." What she's saying to me. But I would come home and I was saying, "I'm ugly. Dad, mama, why you, daddy? He's so black." And so I'm looking just
Oh,
like my dad.
wow.
And so I'm saying these type of things. Mom, I'm like, wait a minute, where is this coming from? God doesn't make junk. The creator doesn't make junk. What are you saying? And my dad would always say, black of the bear, the sweet of the juice. So those types of
Right.
things. He was the first person I remember telling me that I was pretty, telling me that I was ugly, telling me that I was fat, telling me that I was too dark, telling me that I was too nappy.
It looked like she froze. She is going to be coming back. But in the interim, if anybody have any questions for Jaquita, please put them up. Your beautiful author Black Diamond said you're beautiful the way that you are. Thank you for that, uh, author Black Diamond. I will make sure that she see that. She probably will be coming back on. I hope so far that you all are enjoying author Jaquita Johnson. She's saying that she is froze. So I do apologize for that. Um, she's saying she only see black. She'll be coming back on. But in the interim, if anybody have any questions or like have any encouragement that they would like to give to Jaquetta, that would be great. That would be great. Um, that will be great. She is a powerful woman of God, and she has so many, so many, so many hats that she wears. And I think that she is doing a magnificent job. I think that she is doing a magnificent job. Um, okay, there you go. She is
I,
back.
I have no idea. My husband came home and decided he's going to cut on the TV, and it just took it out. So I do apologize for that. So he's going to have to sit down there and not watch TV for a minute until we finish the show. I do apologize. Please forgive me. I do apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. So you were telling us about you was telling us about your mom and the way that your teacher made you feel.
Yes, yes. She made me feel very ugly, and I did not like myself. And so, um, the book "I Am Pretty" focus in on loving the skin that you're in. So as I begin to grow older and understand what my mom was saying as it relates to we are fearfully and wonderfully made, the
Right.
scripture from the Bible. Um, and as I begin to understand and let God's word get into me and I begin to get into God's word, I mean, like in middle school, my thinking about who I am kind of changed. And as I began to love me more and feel better about who I am and just being me, I remember one day we had like twins day or something like that. And so me and my friends decided, hey, let's wear this, let's wear that. And I'm thinking, oh, I like my curves. I know
Right.
I'm different. I know I'm bigger, but I like that. I like how my jeans fit better on me than they fit. All right. So
Right.
it was just kind of like not necessarily comparing, but saying, Chiquita, you all right. You know,
Right.
that, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous is his work.
Right.
And so just begin to understand it. And so what ended up happening is that I just began to blossom and love who I am. And I had a really good friend, and he kind of noticed that. And so he ended up calling Barbizon School of Modeling. He's so
Mm.
silly. And so I went in. I'm just like, you see that in me? And he's like, yeah, you need to do this. And I called, and they called my mom. And went in for the little interview and everything like that. And I tell you, I don't know how many jobs my mama had to pay Barbizon off
Yeah.
Barbizon School of Modeling, but it definitely helped to boost my confidence and my self esteem. And so went through that. Some Barbizon model graduate, and I competed in a couple of pageants here in
Okay.
Atlanta. And did that, and so just began to understand that I'm different. It's okay. We all are different, and
Yes.
it's all right. And so I think the thing that messes us up that I have learned a lot is that we try and compare ourselves to other people. I couldn't look like Jessica, I didn't
Yes.
have her mom and her dad. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yes.
care what I do. I can't do nothing about my skin color. Jesse
Right.
is dark, and that's my
Right.
dad, you know?
Right.
And so just those different types of things and just being able to understand and accept ourselves. Of course, now this day and age, if we don't like something about ourselves, we can do such and such. But certain things we still I can't do anything about my skin color. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And certain
Right.
things I can't do.
Right.
So just understanding that as I take time to develop who I am on the inside and my heart and my spirit and getting smarter and all of those things,
Yes.
confidence grows. My confidence grew, and people begin to see that and take notice of those types of things. And so I am pretty just kind of give homage to that. Of course, listen up, guys, just life lessons that I've gotten throughout life. And one of the things that sometimes we deter children from doing is asking questions. But I
Right.
think asking questions is so important, especially as you get older. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Hey, I'm that ride or die. What we riding to? Why we dying today? Those type. You gotta ask questions. You
You
gotta
got to ask
stop and
questions.
ask questions, and it's okay to ask questions. And we gotta allow children to ask questions because
Right.
that's a great life skill that we need to have even as we grow older. Um, and so I just got some different nuggets and just throughout life. So of course that one definitely feeds off of my life as well. That's what I've learned throughout the years.
Right. Right. Do you find writing easy for you? And do you try to write without expressing your own opinion?
Well, since I can remember, I've always had a little journal or a diary. Okay, my
Okay.
mother was a writer. My mother was a writer. She was an artist as well.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, yeah. And so when I say artist, like she has a album right, and she's always taught us, just do it and walk in your purpose, not necessarily for monetary sakes, which you want the money because it costs money to make money, as she would tell me.
Right.
But
Of
you want,
course.
you want to leave this, and so I've always have, journaled and have always had my own thoughts. That's just who I am. My sister will let you know. You got a mouth on you ever since I was young. Because I asked questions. I did.
Right.
Daddy, I
Right.
don't understand that. And so I remember this what made my dad finally say, you know what, let me put these drugs away. I don't know how many times we have been to NA meetings and all this kind of stuff. I want to be at home watching TV, but I'm in these
Right.
meetings and watch him get these coins and okay, he's gonna be back here again next month. But okay. So I asked him and I was just frustrated and I just said, what are you gonna do different? What you gonna do different, Dad? I'm tired of this.
Right.
At that point, child, this is a cycle. I didn't understand cycles back then, but it's like, what you gonna do different? And those type of questions that I asked, that's what I thought. I spoke, not always. Like I tell my sister, I don't say everything that come to my mind. I'm doing good because
Right.
some stuff I be thinking is this. So that's how writing has been easy for me. I just do it. It is a chore at times when God say write it down for other people. I do speak often, and it's a lot because you have to be disciplined. And sometimes I don't want to be disciplined. Sometimes I don't want to cut off the TV or get off Instagram, but I got to hone in and listen and hear what God is telling me to say to the people. And so,
Right.
yes, it's easy, but it takes discipline.
It, say that last part. I'm sorry.
I said it's easy for me, but you
To
have
write.
to be disciplined. But you have to be
Right.
disciplined.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. Um, how long does it take you to complete one of your books?
It doesn't take long at all. Now, I've been working on a book for adults, and that's taking a little bit longer because for me, it's like the concept. Like, okay, I know what I want to talk about. Like I said, end in mind. I just don't know how I want to bring it about. So, Gary the Greater
Okay.
Gator, um, I wrote. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew
Right.
I wanted my kids to understand greater than and less than. Um, and so that was easy. That was easy. I just sat down and I wrote it. In fact, like I said, I was laid off, and it was during the substance. They said I had to come back and be a sub, all kind of stuff. But anyway, so doing that sub training, I don't know what she was talking about. I'm like, look, I'm gonna get my job back. I'm not even tripping about this. So doing that sub training is when I sat and wrote this down. So
Okay.
I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours when I, did that. And listen up, guys, I worked on that bits and pieces because I wanted to make sure it was what I wanted to do. Um, and so it didn't take a long time. It doesn't take long for me to write it to get that concept and just kind of put it together. It doesn't. Once God dropped it in my spirit, it's like, okay, this is what I want them to learn in the end. Let me see how I'm gonna put it together. So if I collectively, because I'm not a writer that sit down and say, okay, 1,000 words today. I don't.
Right.
I had bits and
You
pieces in
just
my
go with
phone.
the flow.
I
Right.
go with the flow. I'm gonna go with the flow, but I try not to procrastinate. I try to get things done though. So it's like, okay, aha, I think this how I want this to end. Let me stop. Let me finish it here. Now let me be disciplined enough to take all my little bits and pieces and put
And
it
put it
together and
together.
form the actual book and then get it published. So it doesn't take long at all because I don't try and make it come. It just
Right.
flows.
It just flow. Right. 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 Right now, we're going to take a commercial break, and we will continue when we
Okay.
after the commercial.
Dr. Kiana Battle gives service from the heart, focusing on training, education, and professional development. Specialty areas include grief and loss, trauma, informed practice, policy development, grant writing development, public school social work education, professional presentation, and youth and adolescent development. Consulting service fees are based on specific specialty areas. There is no charge for the initial consulting. You can contact Dr. Kiana Battle today by emailing her at info@kbattleconsulting.com or visit her website at www.kbattleconsulting.com.
welcome back. Welcome back. Have you ever experienced someone disliking with something you have written?
Um, no, I was at a, I wouldn't call it a fest. I guess it was a festival of book fair type thing.
Okay.
Um, and someone came over to the table like, "Oh, you have I Am Pretty." I just saw somebody just said had another book that says "Don't Tell a Girl She's Pretty." And so I had to meet the young lady, and it was a great book. We had an amazing conversation.
Right.
I get where she was coming from, and she understood where I was coming from as well. And I can't think of the author name, but it's a beautiful book because she focused in on the fact that sometimes we may not feel pretty, so let's not just kind
Right.
of rely on being pretty. But she understood that I wasn't talking about outward beauty, you
Right.
know.
The
So
inward.
sometimes we let that cover fool us sometimes,
Right.
and we had a great conversation about what true prettiness is and things of that nature. I bought her book, she bought my book, those types of
Okay.
things. And sometimes people get caught up on being pretty, or it's saying I am pretty, and you're more than pretty. Um, Tell a girl she's smart, she's strong. Well, I did. It's in there. Just read the book.
Wow. Wow. Do you want each book to stand out on its own, or do you want it to, uh, come together at the end?
Well, honestly, with Gary the Greater Gator, I was thinking about I was going to do a whole collection of things, and
Right.
people said, "Hey, I need a book on how to tell time. I need a book how to multiply." I was going that route, but I just have to give it as God gives it to me. You know what I mean? And so I didn't set out to become an author. I didn't say, "Hey, let me do that." I saw a need, and I wanted to fill it. Then I saw a need
Right.
in my personal life. Like, okay, take this knowledge, do something with it, help it. It could be an income, but it also can help other people. Other people are struggling with that. And the same with my other books. Listen up, guys, and all of that. So tell me, what was your question again?
Um, do you want each book to
Okay,
stand out on its own,
okay,
or are you trying to build like a body of work with
okay.
connections between each book? Yeah, you answer.
Okay, I'm still trying to get it together from us going the stream going out. Okay, so I was going to say about this one when you asked that. That's what popped in my head. When I wrote Gary the Greater Gator, also I did. Of course, I do a lot of stuff in the African American community, of course, but I found that I couldn't get into African American bookstores because they focus in on characters. It doesn't matter if the author is black or not. So I had an animal. And I was like, oh, y'all ain't gonna get me on that one. So yes, I wrote I Am Pretty for, to help my young ladies, but also I wanted to make sure that I focus in on her being an African American girl. And so that's what I did with that one. And so not necessarily a collection. Um, each book has opened up doors for other opportunities and other
Right.
things. Of course, simply being an author give you a platform. But
Right.
I Am Pretty, it opened up the door to so many other things. And so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm trying to bring it all
All
together, but
together. Right. Okay.
I do want to focus in on building confidence. I do want to
Right.
focus in on social skills and those things that nature. So not necessarily um bringing it all together as it
Right.
relates to the brand, but definitely for my platform. I see your
Right.
question,
Yes,
Miss
Claire
Jones.
Jones.
Yes.
What is
What
your
is your favorite?
favorite genre to write?
Well, it will have to be fiction, but as a whole, I don't even know if it's a genre or not. But I'm just gonna say kid lit. Period. I love children's literature. So even if it's historical fiction, um, I love it. So for me to write, my favorite type of books to write, It's not fiction. I don't know. I don't necessarily know what. I guess self help. To be honest with you, I guess it would be a self help for children. So it'll be self help for children. That's my favorite to write, and that's my favorite to read too. I love self help books. Sometimes when I was a teacher, I used to have to read the books as well, like the chapter books for my reading group. We had like 3 or 4 different reading groups within the classroom, and so I took time,
Right.
of course, to read those chapter books. But it was kid lit. I love kid lit. I don't take as much time reading uh, just romance novels and things of that nature. But of course, I love self help, love biographies, because ultimately you take those things you learn from their life and utilize it to your life. So my favorite is self help for children. So yeah, that's my favorite to
Wow.
write.
That's great. That's great. What was an early experience where you learned that language had power?
Well, I have to go back. I don't know if this is just my family or this. It could be a black family thing. I don't know. We couldn't say the word lie. Okay, that was a
Okay.
curse
Right.
word
Right.
in my house. And so I'm gonna have to answer your question. I think the first time I told my sister she was a lie. You a lie. You was a lie. And boy, oh boy, my daddy whooped my butt, and that didn't go over well. So that's the lesson I learned. Like, okay, I better be careful what I say, you know.
Right.
And hey, language is power, and so that would definitely have to be the first time I realized, be careful for what you say. And also
Of
how I
what you
said
say.
it, because of course I had this whole attitude with it, I'm sure. But yeah, he had warned us and warned us, don't say that word, don't say that word. Lie, that's it, you know. And because my parents really didn't curse. They really didn't. I'm grateful for that. I didn't grow up in a
Right.
household where people curse. Um, so that would have to be my first lesson.
Wow. That was a good lesson.
Yeah.
That was definitely a good lesson.
Yes.
Na- for sure. Learning and unlearning are both critical parts
Mhm.
of growth.
Yes.
Can you share a story of a time when you had to unlearn a lesson?
Yes, ma'am. That's my life every day. Um, meaning that every day I had to battle negative thoughts. You understand? Because like I
Right.
said, when I was younger, my teachers called me fat. They called me I was too dark. You know, and even if they didn't necessarily say she too dark, that's how they made me feel, right?
Right.
Because you are giving more favoritism to the lighter child or the white child or whatever, and just I internalized that, oh, because I'm dark, because I've heard you say something about, oh, her dad's so dark. Yeah, oh, I know she wish she looked like her mama. You know, those types of things. So
Right.
every day I'm battling thoughts. Oh, dang, oh, I hate I did that. I'm not. I don't do it as much now, of course, because I don't live like that anymore. I've learned how to battle and combat those negative thoughts. But every day, learning to unlearn those negative
Right.
thoughts that we think about ourselves, those negative displays of what pretty is that we see on social media, that we see on TV, or what the world may seem is beautiful or smart or successful, those type of things. So I had to unlearn that. Well, that's not what success looked like for me. That's not
Right.
what beauty looks like for me. So learning
Right.
to not compare myself to anyone
Exactly.
else or my situation, because I
Yes.
I know for a fact things aren't always as they seem or as they
Right.
look to be. And
Right.
so having to unlearn those things are something that I'm constantly doing and reminding myself, oh girl, don't think like that. Oh, that dress looks just fine on you. It's all right.
Right.
Those types of
Right.
things. I'm always having to do that.
Right. Right. That's great. That's great. Now I want to switch gears a bit and talk business
Okay.
and talk more about your work, but I have one more question. What is the first book that made you cry?
It's my favorite book in the world. Eloise Greenfield's Honey I Love. And I love it. Now they have a book, Honey I Love, but she has a collective work of art, of poetry, and it's called Honey I Love. And I'll never forget that book. It was no color in it. It was like black and white. It had a little bit of brown, but just being able to relate with all of the different poems in the book. She also wrote the Harriet Tubman "Don't Take No Stuff" and "Wasn't Afraid of Nothing." So they come in this world to be no slave. So that one, then she talks about what she loved, honey, she loved, and all of these things. And so I just remember just different emotions that I felt
Right.
in reading her work, Honey, I Love. And my mom,
Wow.
like I said, was a writer and poet and all of that. And so we have the Shrine of the Black Madonna here that was like one of our only, back when I was young in the 80s, black bookstores. Representation was really important to my mom. We went to the public library often, but she also made sure she went in Sunny and buying us books that, had characters that looked like us. And so that was the book that I chose that day, Eloise Greenfield, Honey, I Love.
Wow. Wow. Tell our audience about the parties you often host. Now you touched on it, but elaborate a little more. Give us a little more insight on that.
Yes, 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 yes. So like I said, when you write a book, it give you platforms to do other things. So of
Right.
course the book sparked all these other businesses. I was telling my friend I'm a serial entrepreneur because I just think about, hey, let's just do this. So part of the thing that I started doing with I Am Pretty is that I host these pretty parties, right? So I've been an etiquette coach and all of this. I love teas. I love all things girly, pearls, and no, I'm not part of any
Mm-hmm.
sisterhood, sorority, or anything like that. But I just love it. And so with the I Am Pretty brand, I also do art therapy, period. And so what happens is we read the book or any type of book because, like I said, I infuse literature into everything. And so we have these acronyms. Go on the website, y'all. Look at Pretty Parties. And so P stands for poise. So if you want to have a party, mostly are for girls, of course. And so birthday parties and that we host, and we come to you. We bring everything from the pink carpet to balloons, whatever you need, whatever, your budget or whatever your heart's desire is, we make it happen. And so, but it's all fused around literature. And so, what our pretty parties normally look like is me kind of talking, telling the story. Of course, decorating all things pink and whatever your color is. And we have tutus. And you see one of the tutus behind. We have the tutus and the t-shirts and all of that. Long story short, we do some form of art. And so normally it's the looking in the mirror, doing the affirmation, and they come up and they get just like a silhouette and they end up drawing themselves and
Okay.
having words and jewels and all of that they put out about themselves. I am pretty smart. I'm pretty kind. Those type of things. We walk the pink carpet. That's one of the things that we do with I Am Pretty. And so we focus on being poised. Let's say you have a youth group and you want me to come in and you want to do the R in pretty, which is respectful. And so
Right.
we have sessions, we do art things that focus in on being respectful. We talk about entrepreneurship, all of those types of things. So go on the website, look at our different acronyms, and hey, if you want a pretty party, please fill out the information and have that pretty party. So that's what that's about. Sometimes it's a full-fledged party like for my girls, but sometimes it's just me holding a session and us doing hands-on things because I'm a teacher first. I'm a teacher first, and I love teaching. I want to make learning fun and able to understand what you're learning today. You can use it in real life. So those are the types of things that we do with our pretty parties.
Right. Right. That is wonderful. I tell you, you are amazing.
Oh,
Give
thank
us
you.
You are so welcome. Give us the insight of books, brains, and beauty.
Yes, books, brains, and beauty. So what that is, well, we had a camp. My friend Rasha and we had a camp, a week-long camp. I just get these ideas, and I say, hey,
Right.
let's just make it happen,
Right.
And so, she has a business, and she was at the Pink House and all that kind of stuff. So what books, brains, and beauty is, it's a week long session. You can break it up. It don't have to necessarily be a week. It goes back. Also, you can make it into a pretty party as well. And so we focus in the students, the young ladies wrote books for the books part. So by the end of the camp, they had a published work. They had written their own books, and the brains part of it is that they became entrepreneurs, and so we did a lot of science things, a lot of STEM things, and so we made beauty products that dealt with science. So we formulated our own perfume, our own lotions, and all of that. But then we had the marketing aspect of it. We had to come up with a commercial. We had to look at branding, all of those things for whatever our product was. One day they were given just tablecloths, and they had to come up with a design to design clothes, and then we had the fashion show, and those
Wow.
girls came up with all kind of stuff, so that's what books, brains, and beauty is about. But ultimately we read books as well. We had a little reading circle, and so most of it was dealing with social emotional learning, and then they took that time to begin to write their books, and it's just the topics and the stuff that they were dealing with was very, very, very heavy. So that's our books, that's our brains, and that's our beauty aspect of books, brains, and beauty.
Wow. That's powerful. That's very, very powerful.
It is,
Now,
yes.
time is, I'm sorry.
I said it was amazing. We love it, and
I,
so it's just like I said. That's just an extended version of a pretty
uh,
party as well. It's
right.
just what I do. I love teaching. I love literature. I love making real life happen for children. Love marketing and branding and all of that. And so just bringing everything that I love together into one and teaching other people how to do it as well.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do your parties, your pretty parties and the books, brains, and beauty, I know that you do the parties. Do you do it online,
You know
virtual?
what? I have not had the opportunity to do it online. I have not. No,
Okay.
I don't. Most of the times I'm going into after school camps and after school book clubs and
Okay.
things of that nature. But doing the whole shutdown and the virtual, I have not gotten into doing pretty parties. For me, it's all about that fellowship and
Okay.
being there.
That's
Because
what I was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
we
the
can,
presence.
yeah, we can. I want to be able to feel your vibes and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And so, no, I have not. I haven't done one.
Right.
Um, I haven't done it virtually.
Right. I was thinking about it because, maybe somebody online that's watching, some of the audience may, and you can branch out to different states and stuff like that. That's something to really, to think about.
Definitely, we
Um,
can make it.
yes, for sure. For sure. I know you will make it happen.
I will.
I don't have a doubt. I don't have a doubt. But we're coming to a close.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I would like for you to encourage our audience.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. And so I think tonight really have been focused in on writing, period. And so I just want the audience to know that you have a story. That story is within you. The world is waiting for your story. Regardless, you can have 10,000 books about hair, but it's not your story. So I think it's very important to stop waiting and just do it. Put the pencil to the paper, write that book, share your story because somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to hear it. And I know you wanted me to encourage the audience, but I just had to tell you this quick story. I was in Atlanta with a girls group. They had me to
Right.
come in as a speaker. Long story short, the girls group had been reading the book I Am Pretty. A young lady, darker skin, kind of chubby. She said, "I just want to thank you for writing your book." And I said, "Well,
Wow.
thank you, sweetie." And she said, "No, no. I wanted to commit suicide." Now, this baby in the
Wow.
third grade talking about committing suicide. She said,
Wow.
"I wanted to commit suicide." She said myself, I suicide because I thought I was too fat. I thought I was too dark. She said, "But after I read your book, I decided just to love me." And I know God, if this the owner of this book to save this baby life, so be it. And so I don't know how many
Wow.
books out there that's cute, pink, and girly, right? But it wasn't my book. It
Right.
wasn't my words. It was the words that God gave me to share.
To
Love the
share.
skin
Yes.
that you're in. Those types of things, and
Yes.
understanding what true prettiness is, being nice, being all of these different things. And so that young lady's life. And so that's what I'm saying. You have something that can save somebody else's life. So stop waiting. Stop thinking, oh, somebody else already did it. No, it wasn't you. Write that book, get the word out. Let me know. Reach out to me if you need help. And that's my little tidbit. Just do it.
Great, great advice. Great advice. I tell you, you amazing. Well, it's time to come to a close. We are more than thankful that you tuned in with us this evening. Jaquita, you are brilliant. Thank you for joining us. We were excited to have you contributing your stories and insight here on the Denise Newsome Show. I am so proud of you. Keep up the good work. Please, those that are watching, please support Jaquita. Her information is going across the screen. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this evening's broadcast. The Denise Newsome Show, the show that gives credit where credit is due, has a new monthly show schedule. New show times are as follows. The first Monday of the month will be a powerful word of God. The second Monday is In Your Element, where our guests share their gifts and talents. On the third Monday, join the ladies of Mask Off, where authentic conversations happen, with our hostesses Denise Newsome, Sybil Price Rucker, and Deirdre Moody. And on the fourth Monday is Sitting with Denise. All show times are from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share at the Denise Newsome Show. Increase your brand's awareness by advertising with the Denise Newsome Show. Let Denise help you to get your message out. She offers a 30-second video commercial or voiceover flyer with your information. Contact Denise at denisenewsome.com or email her at denisenewsome64@gmail.com for more information. Help the Denise Newsome Show give credit where credit is due. You can contact Denise today at www.denisenewsome.com or by emailing her at denisenewsome64@gmail.com with a love offering or sponsorship gift to help her keep the show running. You are appreciated at the Denise Newsome Show, and she looks forward to hearing from you. The views and opinions expressed in the content or comments on the Denise Newsome Show are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the Denise Newsome Show.